All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Forge Your Life podcast. Here with your host today, Richard Fu from richardfu.com. Today, guys, I'm excited to have someone like this lady on. Her name is Dr. Kathy Gruver. She is a motivational speaker. She's an international speaker. In fact, she's an award-winning author. And on top of that, she is the host of the Alternative Medicine Cabinet. And I'm excited to open up this cabinet to understand more of what's inside with her, because I know we get amazing guests just like her on, but I'm really pumped up to see what other alternative medicines there are out there in this world. And it's no surprise to me to have a host of her own show on here. So I'm excited to bring her on. Anyway, guys, this is Kathy. Kathy, thanks for jumping on.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, I'm excited, Kathy. I'm excited. And so, Kathy, for the people who haven't heard about you or haven't even checked you out on national TV yet, could you tell us a bit more about yourself and how you got started in this?
Yeah, absolutely. I never set out to do anything with medicine. I never set out to be a speaker or a healer or a writer. Not on my radar at all. I was an actor.
Wow.
Which, has its own whole set of psychology. But no, I stepped on stage in 5th grade, and I swore I would never get off, which is kind of interesting because I actually haven't. I now have my own TV show, but I'm not the wacky neighbor or the crazy woman on the soap opera. I'm teaching people about health, and I am still on stage, but I'm actually sharing knowledge and information about stress and mind-body medicine and nutrition and empowerment and things like that. So I have the dreams that I wanted, but they're wearing different clothes. It's sort of interesting. I started doing massage when I was in college. I very accidentally apprenticed with a woman who looked at me one day and said, "You can do this." And I went, "Okay, cool." And that launched this. And I swear, Richard, I've just followed the breadcrumbs from here. I started doing massage full time, and then I added all these other things. And I realized that my clients really wanted me to be a health practitioner for them. They didn't just want an elbow or a knuckle into the muscle that hurt. They wanted me to know about their uncle's heart disease and their cousin's diabetes and their kid's autism. And so I started studying more and more. I got my PhD. I studied mind-body medicine at Harvard, and then I started writing, and then I started lecturing, and then I started doing radio and TV. And here we are, actually not that many years later, and I'm doing all this. And I don't know what's next. I don't know what is coming next. I can't see around that corner, but I have my train ticket, and I'm patiently waiting on the platform, and we'll see what shows up.
I love that. And I love that you mentioned this, and I wanted to bring it up because I think a lot of people might have overlooked this. It's that, you already knew where you wanted to be, and you knew you wanted to be on the stage. And this is the best part, is that a lot of people think that they have to go and be like a role model, and that means I have to be a sports person, I have to be this, I have to be that. But you said it was in different clothes. And this is so beautiful, because I want to bring that up, because so often, Kathy, is that I've had people come up to me like, "Richard, I must do this. I must be, a tennis star. I must be a speaker." And it's like, but you could, what's the reason behind it? It's, because I want to make an impact. Because I want to be a role model. But then you can be a role model. You can make an impact in many other ways. And that's what I love about your message, is that you've embodied that into something else and still making that same level of impact that you probably would have if you did try and pursue becoming an actress, and maybe that's not what your genius is at.
Right. I knew and I actually did. That's how I got to California. I drove cross country with everything I moved in a U-Haul, and set up shop in North Hollywood and went to auditions, and I was in LA for almost 10 years. But I know that experience helps me do this, because anybody, I shouldn't say anybody can get a PhD. That sounded right. But anybody can go to school and have a lesson and then stand in front of you and go, blah blah blah, health is good. I've heard so many horrific speakers of people that have so much knowledge, they're just terrible at it. And because I have the acting background, and I am definitely an extrovert, and I like to make people laugh, and I like to have fun, and so my talks, and when I do radio and TV and stuff, they're fun and they're interactive. It's not another doctor standing there talking at you about enzymes. I want to make it conversational, and same thing with my books. People have told me it's like I'm reading it to them. They hear my voice when they read the books, and it's like sitting down with a girlfriend and getting advice. And to me, that's like that's what I wanted. That was my objective. So I got it. And like I said, I didn't know how it would come, but it's here, and it's such an honor to me, truly, to get to share what I know with people. Because to me, what's the point of me learning it all if I don't tell anybody? And that's why I do all this. That's why I do all this.
Yeah, that's why when I first got on here with you, Kathy, I was like, whoa, for someone with a PhD, you're pretty cool, right?
Thank you. I try.
I try. And, so I'm excited to learn more about this, the alternative medicine cabinet. And talk us through this. I mean, like, you said you started through being a masseur, and then from there you just transformed into becoming a lot more with what the clients demanded. And so, talk us through this. I mean, like, what is in this alternative medicine cabinet? Like, what's some secrets that you have in there that you could share here with some of our listeners here?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a threefold perspective on health. And the first one is get rid of things that are not serving you, whether it's sugar, whether it's wheat, whether it's high fructose corn syrup, GMOs, fats, whatever it is, get rid of it. Because if you start piling things on top of that without getting rid of the offending incident, you're not going to find any healing. That's like, whacking yourself on the head with a hammer and taking Advil. It's like, well, stop hitting yourself with the hammer. That's the core problem. The second one is then let's add things back in that you need that you might not be getting. Typically, for me, I recommend a multivitamin. Maybe it's magnesium. Maybe it's digestive enzymes. Maybe it's something like that. Then the third thing, and most people start with the third thing, then the third thing is, then let's add other things in. And, maybe it is a prescription, a pharmaceutical, or a Western medicine intervention. I am so not opposed to Western medicine. I'm so glad we have it. I wish we used it differently, but I'm glad we have those methods and those diagnostics. Maybe it's a homeopathic, maybe it's an herb. But I think unless we really get to the root of the problem, we're not going to get anywhere. And I think the other thing I really emphasize to people is you have choices. And if it's something that you're experiencing that is not a life-threatening problem, start with the least amount of intervention necessary. If you've got back pain, don't go straight to the orthopedic surgeon. Maybe come to get a massage, or go to a chiropractor, or go to acupuncture, or an osteopath, or something that is the least invasive. Because once you start cutting things, and then you come to me and say, fix me, I'm like, yeah, but you've already had 5 surgeries. I don't know what else, you've already restructured yourself. It's really hard to undo that. So I think it's about choices, and, don't come to me if you're having a heart attack, a gunshot wound, please go to the emergency room. I'm not going to give you an herb for that. But for things that are not going to kill you or cause lasting damage, let's try the least intervention first. And sometimes it's a massage or acupuncture, or that type of thing. I really emphasize that to people.
Great advice, Kathy. And I think I want to ask you this question. I mean, like, why do you think people jump to that? We'll call it the extreme, right? The extreme, or the cure, the little pill that's going to cure you. Do you think it's that because, like, whether that be the surgery, whether that be taking a pill or something like that, it's probably like on the other end of the spectrum, rather than just working your way through to find out that all these other alternatives don't work for you? Do you think that's because we're in an information age where, and I'm a culprit of this, I'm gonna put my hand up and say this, is that, like, if I'm having these symptoms, I'll go on Google and I'll go search for it and be like, self-diagnose myself. It's all right. I don't need to go to no doctor. I'm going to go find out all the things. And, oh my God, I must have this. I must have leprosy. I must have this. I must have this. This means this. This means that. I mean, do you think that's one of the reasons why people are jumping the gun on these medical solutions?
I think that's an issue, but for a different reason. I think the reason people head straight to the doctor and say, fix this now, is one, that's been drilled into our head for decades now. That's the environment, that's the structure that we have in place. So people my father's age into people about 40, that's what our experience was. You're sick, you call the doctor. Then they started showing pharmaceutical commercials on TV. Now, that's only true in America and New Zealand, but that became a problem because then people would see the happy bouncing egg and they'd say, I have depression, and they would head straight to, and what's the last thing it says? talk to your doctor about, so that was the next thing. I think often we're impatient. We want the quick fix. We don't want to stretch for the next 6 weeks. We want the pill or the surgery. We don't want to lose 50 pounds. We would rather say, okay, well, now we're diabetic, I guess. It becomes a new normal, and our bodies and minds are really good at adjusting what that homeostasis is, adjusting what that new normal is. So if it's, hey, you need to lose some weight, you're borderline diabetic, lose some weight. 2 years goes by. Okay, well, you didn't lose the weight, so now you're going to have to take a sugar pill to control your diabetes. And then that becomes normal. And then they go, well, the pill's not working, now you have to inject. Okay, that becomes normal. At what point does it get so bad that we do take action? I don't have the answer to that. I think the bad thing with the self-diagnosing is like what you just said, and I've had clients come to my office in an absolute panic. One was sure he had Legionnaire's disease, and I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you don't have that. One woman had this thing on her feet, and she's like, I have diabetes. I'm going to lose a leg, and I'm thinking, well, what's your blood sugar? 92. Okay, you're not diabetic. Why do you think that I said, you don't you don't get a weird rash. That's not the first sign of diabetes. It's not like you lose a leg and then you realize your blood sugar's high. It doesn't work that way. So I'm glad we have that information. I use it all the time, but I kind of know how to use it better, I think, than just the average person who Googles, asks the Google something. So that was a very long answer, but I think that's why we're lazy. Let's face it, we're lazy. A lot of us, not all of us, but it's hard to lose 60 pounds, and stretch and exercise and watch what you're eating, and that's hard to do. It's time consuming. There's a lot of failure in that, or perceived failure in that, and it's easier to take a pill.
Yeah, I get you.
And that saddens me because I want us to be healthier. I mean, that's why I do this. I want to inspire people to be healthier, and I do the best I can, but it's not up to me. It's up to them. So.
Yeah. I get you. And going through your 3-step process here, Kathy, I mean, you said the first step was to eliminate the things that aren't serving you, right? So and this is what confuses me sometimes, you get one piece of study that says this is not good for you, and then another piece that says this is good for you, and then you're like, I'm confused, which one? Am I not meant to eat that much meat? Am I meant to drink this much red wine? Am I meant to have, this many
I can tell you, you're totally supposed to drink that much wine. I'm laying it out there right now. You're totally
but not all for health reasons, right?
Oh, it's healthy. It's for health, believe me.
And so, what's that baseline then for people who don't actually understand?
That is such a fabulous point. And again, knowledge is power, but ignorance is bliss. And there are times I really wish I didn't know as much as I do, because you say that and I know exactly why that happens. Part of it's marketing. Just for example, I am not a cow's milk person. I do not think humans should be drinking cow's milk. I don't think human children should be drinking cow's milk. Unless you're a baby cow, you shouldn't be drinking cow's milk. And I have a litany of reasons for that, which I can tell you if you want to know. The milk industry and all those ads came out of the Nixon administration because he had friends who were dairy farmers and they needed to sell more milk. So, which is now, I'm going to get a phone call for that one, which is now translated into all these milk ads, and you need this to be strong. You don't, you don't need that to be strong. You can get calcium from so many other sources, but we've been fed this bill of goods, no pun intended, that we need certain things. For the longest time, eggs. Oh my God, if you ordered an egg in a restaurant, people were like, thinking about this high cholesterol issue. I have at least a dozen eggs a week.
Yeah.
And I have the best cholesterol in the history of the world. My doctor said, you will never, he said, you could start smoking now. You will never have a cardiac incident. He said, you have the best cholesterol I've ever seen. Eating cholesterol does not raise our cholesterol. Eating fat does not make us fat. It's these myths that we've, been raised with. And it's so hard to distinguish, vitamins are good for you, you should have your vitamins. No, vitamins are bad. They're bad for, it's like, but then read the study. The vitamins they studied that said were pointless. I'm a huge vitamin proponent. I think we should be taking a multivitamin every day. A good one, a really good one. When they take really crappy synthetic vitamins and they give them to really sick people and say, these didn't work. Well, of course they didn't. You gave them crap. You have to look at the study. And the average person isn't going to do that. They're going to read the article and go, oh, vitamins are bad for me, and they're going to throw them away.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, because
Which
the thing that shocks me the most is the egg thing, right? For so long in my life, I've been told, like, I remember, and this is crazy. I was diagnosed with like high cholesterol when I was like, must be 25 or something like that, for my age range anyway. And the doctor said, don't eat the egg yolks. And then I come over here, and then my friend's like, no, bro, you can actually eat the egg yolks, right? And they're okay for you. I'm like, what are you talking about? For like 20 years, that's all I believed.
Yeah. Well, and what's funny is if you eat a whole egg, there are components and compounds in the egg white that makes the egg yolk good fat. If we just ate whole real food, I will tell you the only time I don't recommend eating eggs. If you're going to eat eggs, and like I said, I eat tons of eggs, eat them as much as you can with the yolk intact. Have them hard-boiled, soft-boiled, over easy, over hard, whatever it is. If you scramble the egg and then it mixes with fat, if you use oil, it oxidizes and becomes bad fat. Okay. So if you're at a breakfast buffet and there's a pile of eggs, they always look creepy anyway. They never look good. That's when you should skip them, not only because they're creepy, but because you put a heat lamp on them. That's when you shouldn't have eggs. Other than that, have some eggs. I'm the picture perfect example of eggs. All right. Yeah, that was a weird statement.
It's a tweetable now. It's a tweetable now.
Oh no! Oh, don't. Oh, that's my tweet for the day. Okay.
Awesome. I'll make sure I have eggs hard boiled or soft boiled then.
Perfect.
All right. And then, so what else should people look out for? I mean, like you're talking about cow's milk, and we can get onto that later on. But like, what other things are like myths, right? That people have been, marketized, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, I've got two good ones. Yeah. Diet soda is better for you than real soda. Wrong. No. No, please cut the soda. No more soda. No more soda. I typically go with the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, do the best you can. 20% of the time, you can have a treat. Don't drink a lot of soda. Seriously, it's not meant to be an everyday beverage. You're not meant to have a 6-pack a day. This coming from the woman who was so into Mountain Dew, I was in the church of Mountain Dew. Okay, so I understand the caffeine addiction and the high fructose corn syrup and the pretty yellow color. I get it. It's horrible for you. And soda, especially the brown sodas, very, very bad for women because it's high in phosphoric acid. Okay. We need a certain amount of phosphorus, but if you're drinking a lot of soda, you're getting a lot of phosphorus. Phosphorus competes for absorption with calcium, and it wins. So if you are worried about things like osteoporosis and osteopenia, absolutely cut out the brown sodas. The problem for me with the diet soda is the artificial sweetener. Yes. And there are plenty of studies showing that artificial sweetener actually makes you heavier. So you're drinking diet soda to lose weight, it's actually making you fat because it suppresses something in the brain called leptin, which says, wait, we're full. If you suppress that, you just keep eating. You're hungry all the time. And then you have more diet soda. Oh, yeah, totally. Wow. I wouldn't joke about that. Yeah.
Crazy.
Same thing with, the pink packets, the blue packets, the yellow packets. Those are horrible for you. Cut out the artificial sweetener. At least with sugar, and I'm not advocating a lot of sugar, but at least with sugar, your body knows what to do with it. It knows how to process it. And if we continue to put chemicals in our body goes, I don't know what that is. And it stores it away for later to figure out what to do with it. And it stores it in our fat. Which makes us fatter. So it's this whole clash of things. So yeah, the diet soda is not better for you than regular. Cut out all sodas. Have one a month as a treat.
Yeah, gotcha.
Oh, this is so fun. Do you know why I'm such a nerd? Do you know why they would have soda fountains in pharmacies, like way back?
No.
Okay, the drugs were disgusting tasting, and they were typically liquids because they didn't have a good way to make pills and capsules and stuff at that point. So you drink your pharmaceutical, and then you'd go over to the soda fountain to chase it down. That's your nerdy fact for the day.
Wow. And I want to jump in here, Kathy, and I'm thinking you don't just, I know we've been talking about sodas, we've been talking like Coke, Pepsi, whatever else, Mountain Dew, but this really surprised me. One of my friends said, I said, if you want to cut out sugar, then just have like soda water, right? But hey, apparently, and I don't know if this is true, I saw in the packet, soda water has like 25% sugar in there. Right?
Really?
Yeah, the soda water, which is, I think, different from tonic, and I don't know. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't understand how there could be sugar in there that just tastes like water with bubbles in there. You
Yeah,
know?
I don't know. I wonder if it's like somehow the flavored water that has, like it tastes like lemon in the soda water. I don't know.
Mm,
I had a client who would absolutely not stop drinking soda. I
mm,
mean, he would like sneak it. And I said, go to a bed and bath store or order it online and get one of those home soda machines.
oh, yep,
And
yep,
he
yep.
went, oh, and I said, that way you can make whatever flavor you want. It's better for you. You can get the flavors that don't have the artificial sweetener. I said,
Mm,
if you truly need that soda feeling, that bubbly, and some people can't handle carbonation, so that's a whole other set of issues,
mm,
make it yourself. We now have that technology. You can make
yeah,
soda at home for yourself. Do it. It's cheaper too. I'm sure. Well, I don't know. They sell the soda for so cheap, but it's better for you. It's better for you. So you get the treat, and it's better for you.
oh, great advice, great advice. And what is the other myth, Kathy, you're going to share with us that?
Oh, this one just it irks me. The high fructose corn syrup thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to see less of this, but about a year and a half or 2 years ago, we were seeing all these commercials of, what do you mean, Barb? It's the same as sugar. You won't give your kids that? And, trying to make Barb look like an idiot. It's like, oh, basically telling us that high fructose corn syrup is the same as sugar.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. You don't just squeeze corn and get juice. It's not how it works. If that's how it worked, great. Put it in stuff. It's natural. High fructose corn syrup is a highly chemical process. It is genetically modified, and I'm very anti-GMO.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it contains mercury.
Mm-hmm.
Mercury, that thing we don't want inside us.
Yeah.
About 50% of high fructose corn syrup in the processing gets mercury in it, and the industry can't tell you which it is. So you have no idea when you're eating that product if you're getting mercury. It's a sign of a really cheaply made, processed, packaged food. Your grandmother didn't have high fructose corn syrup in the house
Mm-hmm.
to make stuff. So it's just an indicator of cheaply made food that we probably shouldn't be eating anyway. Now, what I'm seeing, which excites me to no end, is a lot of companies switching back to regular sugar. And in their ads, they're actually saying, now with no high fructose corn syrup or no genetically modified, they're catching up to us. There's been a big debate here in the States about should we label GMOs. Frankly, I think we should cut them out. But at the very least, they should be labeled. And companies are hearing that. They're realizing that's what people want, and they're going to spend their dollars on companies that are upfront about that. So that thrills me, because with every swipe of a barcode, we cast our vote as to what we want to eat and what we want in our stores. So that thrills me. But yeah, the whole high fructose corn syrup, again, highly found in soda, that was a big conflict. That was a big conflict for a while. So yeah.
Wow. Amazing shares here. And, I mean, Kathy, you've been talking about, GMOs here. And, I did not, and I'll be honest here, I was so ignorant about what GMO was. I thought it was just, you just make the corn bigger, right? You get seedless watermelon and seedless grapes or something like that. But talk us through GMOs, because I only understood this after I listened to a podcast, a Tony Robbins podcast, where they interviewed this lady. I forget her name, but she wrote, I think, the ugly... Truth about health or something like that.
Marion Nestle.
Yeah, I think it might have been her, right? And
She's amazing. She's amazing.
She was opening up about GMOs, and that's where I realized that. And I want to confirm here with you that she's saying that GMOs is actually like, say, for example, we got the corn gene, right? And then we spliced it in so that it would create its own pesticide, right? That's the type of GMO that's not good for us, because then, you wash the corn and, hey, doesn't matter, pesticides still inside the corn. But break us through what GMOs really is, and if that's the true case, and how we should be avoiding that.
Yeah, that is one example of it, absolutely. So in 1992 or 1993, the first commercial GMO product came on the market. It was called the Flavor Saver tomato, and it was a flounder gene crossed with a tomato.
Right. Okay.
It's all natural. Have you ever seen a flounder have sex with a tomato? I missed that Wild Omaha, whatever, Wild Kingdom episode. I didn't see that one where the fish and the tomato were having a relationship. I didn't see that one. They did that so that it would be less susceptible to frost on the vine. So theoretically, you could have a bigger crop, you could grow it, and they put it on the market, and it tasted awful, and it was meal. It just tasted terrible. People did not like. Funny, it was a flavor saver.
Yeah.
No one liked it, so they pulled it from the market. Right now, we do not have crops that are being genetically modified to increase vitamin content.
Mm-hmm.
We are not genetically modifying broccoli so that you have one stalk and you get enough of your nutrients for the week. In that case, I would almost be more pro-GMO.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they're genetically modifying the components is to make them come to market faster,
Mm-hmm.
and or make them bigger, or become resistant to pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, or to create their own pesticide, like you said. So the main one, and one of the first ones, was this corn, the genetically modified corn, and it has a bacteria built into it that is resistant to Roundup. And Roundup is that spray that we put on the weeds in our driveway. And if you've ever spilled Roundup on something you want to live, you know it's a problem because it kills whatever it touches. So if it spills on your lawn, if it spills on your flower bed, it's dead, period. And so farmers used to have to go through the crops by hand, spraying each weed. Very time consuming, very cost inefficient, which I get. I understand that. So they found that they could genetically modify this corn so that you could spray it with Roundup and it would still keep growing.
Mm-hmm.
What a money saver. Now you can take a crop duster, spray the entire crop, the weeds die and the corn doesn't. Except now we have crops that are so covered in pesticide. The other problem is, it's like the smoking section in a restaurant. The smoke doesn't know, oh, I'm not supposed to leave here. It goes wherever it's going to go. So if now some of those seeds from that corn gets into an organic field, it's spreading, and we're having all this cross-contamination of genetically modified things. They want to release a genetically modified salmon, which will come to market quicker, and it's like a third bigger. And that sounds great, right? Oh, it's bigger, it comes to market quicker, we can feed more people. Well, it's got like 60% less nutrients.
Okay.
It's not helping, so people say it's perfectly safe. I say, talk to me in 20 years. Because what we know isn't safe is pesticide and herbicide and fungicide. And I don't have the exact number in front of me, but something like a couple 100 million gallons is what our pesticide use has increased in the last 7, 8, 9 years. That's a problem. We can't be ingesting pesticide. The good news is not a lot of produce is genetically modified. So people, you don't have to be terrified of going to the produce section in a grocery store. I'm not talking about the corn that you're getting for the barbecue or the soy that you're getting in edamame. We're talking about high fructose corn syrup, soy solids, things, again, that are used in this packaged and processed food. One of the ways to tell is those little stickers on your fruits and vegetables. Those are actually tell us something. 4 digits, see if I get this right. 4 digits means it's been conventionally grown. So it probably has herbicides and stuff sprayed on it, but it's not been modified in any way. If it has an 8 as the first number and it's 5 digits, that means it's been genetically modified. If it's 5 digits and has a 9, that means it's organic. 9 is fine. We hate 8 is how I like to remember that. So if you're concerned about your produce, and really the only produce that's been GMO is about half of the crookneck squash, the yellow squash that you buy, and a bunch of papayas from Hawaii.
Oh, really?
I don't know why. Other than that, you're pretty much safe with your fruits and vegetables. So, again, that was a long explanation, but GMOs are so complicated. So, I would avoid them. They're showing increased evidence of allergies. Again, you're getting all this pesticide. It's hard to wash off. And we just truly, long-term, don't know what messing with nature is going to do to us. We don't know.
And
right now, we're a large genetic experiment, and we don't know what it's going to do to us.
And that's why I wanted to bring this up, because when it came into my consciousness, I was like, oh my God, whoa, hang on a second. I thought genetically modified stuff just meant bigger, but now that you shed the light on it, it's like, it's different. It's so much more than that.
Yeah, it's pretty insidious. And the fact that they don't have to label it, and I had done a couple really big articles as an expert about GMOs, which is funny because I'm not a scientist or anything. It's just, coming from the health background, that was one of the causes that I started to learn about and went, oh, whoa, we got to tell people about this. So I had an interview with ABC News on the website. And I got just the sweetest email from a woman saying, my son was so sick. He was having drop seizures. He was having all these problems. And they finally put him on an all organic, natural diet, cut out all the GMOs, cut out all the everything, and his symptoms went away. Mm-hmm. And he went to a friend's sleepover and had either pizza or something that clearly had some kind of genetically modified component in it, and he went back to all his symptoms. And she said, for us, it's not like we'd like to know if they're GMO. She said, for us, we have to know. And she had expressed how excited she was that I was really pushing to have this stuff, well, one, cut out, but also labeled, because some people have a sensitivity that we're all biologically individual, and who knows how you react to something differently than I do as a female, with different hormones, with different age, with different ethnic background, with different, who knows how this is going to affect us in the future. And that's a little scary to me.
Exactly. And we're putting things out there that we say we've tested it, but we only tested for like the short term. Right. And there's no way for us to test it 20 years down the track to see what actually happened, maybe even longer than that, generations down.
Right.
And it's not fair that we are the big guinea pigs without actually even knowing about it, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. Oh, they'd like us to keep from knowing about it. Yeah.
Oh, Kathy,
this is why I'm here. I'm a tattletale. I'm going to tell you what they're doing.
Yeah, and that's why it's been so enlightening to have you here on the show. And so, it pains me that we have to start wrapping up the show because, we're getting to that time again. But as we start wrapping up here, Kathy, I'm going to go into the quick fire question rounds.
Okay.
Where we go in with quick questions. And so, the first question I want to ask you here, Kathy, is it's obviously you've studied a lot, you've researched a lot, you've read a lot of books. I mean, if someone wants to start looking after their health more or better, what's one of the big books that you would recommend they should start reading first?
Yeah. Oh, there's so many. If you want to look from the mind-body end of it, if you want to look at the stress stuff, Carolyn Mace is amazing, MYSS. Louise Hay was one of the first people that I read. Deepak Chopra has amazing books, and there's so many. From a nutrition perspective, Marion Nestle's books are amazing. And if you're a female, Christian Northrup, who deals a lot with women's health, and she has a book called Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom. It's incredible. It is just, I couldn't even begin to touch on what she has in this book. And, I wrote a couple. Mine are pretty good too. I have to put my there, if you have a second.
We'll add them into the show notes too, of course. And then, so with that understanding then, Kathy, the next question I have for you here is what's one piece of advice for someone, we talked about the 3-step process, right? And let's say they're overwhelmed with information, they don't know what to do. What would your one piece of advice be for them just to start off something simple?
Yeah. Know that you have choices. And sometimes it doesn't seem like we have choices, especially if you're dealing with a chronic illness. I work with a lot of people with cancer and MS and autoimmune conditions. You always have a choice to see a different practitioner, to try a different modality. And if nothing else, you have the choice to change your focus onto something else and to look at things that are positive, to know that tomorrow is an opportunity to have something different. And I really emphasize that to people because so often they forget they have an option. So I'm here to tell you, you do.
Awesome. The last question I have here for you, Kathy, is a juicy one I'm waiting for, right? And I'm excited for is how would you describe what true health looks like to you?
Oh, yeah. People think health is the absence of disease, and it's just not. I mean, that's part of it, but to me, there's a big difference between healing and curing. Curing is you go to the doctor and they cut out that piece or they give you that med. Healing comes from in here. Healing is our responsibility. And I know people with chronic diseases who have found healing. So to me, that's what health is. Health is about having this balance and this peace inside of you that is all-encompassing of body, mind, and spirit. And then you have to look at health as, do you have financial health? Do you have sexual health? Do you have mental health? It's not just having a low BMI and doing 30 crunches a day. It's about your whole being in balance. And it's a tough one because it comes and goes, but it's about keeping that balance and keeping that homeostasis. And there are times we flip to this way and we've got to balance it out again. It's like being in a rowboat. It's a constant, okay, I got this. And sometimes you'll be thrown off balance, of course, but the key is figuring out how to get it back.
Beautiful. Oh, I love it. And so this wraps up the show here, Kathy. Is there anything else you wanted to add that we didn't get to cover today on the show?
Oh, like I have 3 more hours of stuff, but I mean, we could do it again.
Only 3 hours?
No, I could talk for days. My poor husband has to hear me talk all the time. No, just make the best choices you can. Be gentle to yourself. I stress that a lot too. You don't have a newborn and stand it up and then yell at it when it falls over. It's a process, and you have to be at least as patient with yourself as you would be teaching a kid to walk. So be gentle with yourself and be patient, and reward yourself for those small steps, because it's the small steps that lead you to really big accomplishments.
Love it. Kathy, thank you for jumping on. Been an absolute pleasure having you here. If people want to connect with you and learn more about your work, where's the best place they should head to?
Yeah, so I've got 2 sites. My general site is thealternativemedicinecabinet.com. All my books are there. There's a lot of free resources, so you can go check that out. Sign up for my newsletter. You get a super secret health tip. Nice. Don't tell anybody. And then my speaker site, if you think I can come help in any way with a workshop or a lecture, is kathygruver.com.
Awesome. And we'll add
Kathy and Gruver is GRU. So much for being here. Yeah, thanks for letting me be here.
Awesome. We'll add them into the show notes as well. There was just a slight hiccup there just then, but it's all right. We'll put your website up on the show notes.
Oh, perfect.
Awesome. So once again, Kathy, thank you for jumping on. Absolute pleasure having you on, breaking through the myths of what GMO is and so much more. Awesome.
Thanks.
And guys, this wraps up another episode of the Forge Your Life podcast here today with Her Majesty herself, of the GMO buster herself, Kathy Gruver. I know this. I know Kathy doesn't want to keep this a secret. I don't want to keep this a secret. We can't keep this stuff a secret anymore. So please share this out. Make sure we go into iTunes, rate the show so that we can get her message out there and all the other guests on the show out there. So head on over there, give us 5 stars if you think the GMO information was on point and on the truth. And if you love GMOs, then 1 star, and I understand it all, and that's okay. If you love GMOs, that's all cool with me too. And then explain to me why you think they're a good idea. Yes, we'll add that in. And of course, guys, you can get the show notes over at richardfood.com. And remember, guys, go out there, go live with love, go smash it, and I'll see you again on the next one.